Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. We have an amazing show for everybody today. What do we have, Krystal?
Indeed, we do. Lots of interesting things that are breaking this morning. First of all, we have more amazing results from our exclusive focus group of New Hampshire Republican voters. We asked them about some issues, things like abortion and also Social Security. So we will play some of that for you. We also have kind of peak angst over on the Democratic side about their very likely ticket headed into 2024. There is a freak out about the top of the ticket. There is a freak out about the vice president, Kamala Harris. In fact, Nancy Pelosi just this morning on CNN refused to say that Kamala Harris was the best choice for the ticket. So we will play all of that for you, which is very interesting. We also have some new, very troubling numbers coming out in terms of the economy. Inflation has ticked back up. Child poverty has skyrocketed at the fastest clip literally since they've been tracking it. So we'll dig into all of that. And there is a lot of course, spin and cope coming from the Biden White House on those numbers. At the same time, kind of a surprise announcement from Senator Mitt Romney that he is going to retire. We will break down for you behind the scenes what is going on there and what he is saying about his reasons. And we have some new spin with regard to Hunter Biden, his business dealings, his relationship with his father, etc. We're on the brink of a big possible strike tonight. We'll break that down for you. Saagar is doing a little debunking of some alleged alien creatures that were presented before the Mexican government. We'll give you all of those details as well. And late breaking, last night, Bill Maher has decided to become a scab and restart his show real time in spite of the fact that the writers are still out on strike.
It's an interesting choice. We will be covering it. Okay, but before we get to that, just want to say again, thanks to all the premium subscribers. You guys were the ones who enabled our focus group. We're planning on doing many more, so make sure you go ahead and sign up for breakingpoints.com. You can help support our work, and we are going to be delivering the full focus group to all of the premium subscribers at some point later today, and it will be available fully on the public feed tomorrow. So if you want to get it early and you want to be able to support our work, a little bit of an incentive there, breakingpoints.com, as I said. But other than that, let's get to the actual focus group.
Yep, absolutely. So we did this in partnership with JL Partners and phenomenal moderator James, who came in and did just a great job leading all of these. We're already talking to them about what we might do next. So keep that in mind as we're moving forward. But we wanted to get into how they felt about some of the top issues that are on people's minds as we head into the election. Of course, one of those top issues is abortion. And even more so than on the Democratic side, there has emerged a real split in terms of how Republican candidates are approaching the issue of abortion. This was represented by Mike Pence versus Nikki Haley, really in the debates where Mike Pence has always been very stridently pro-life. He has sort of staked some of his national reputation and certainly his presidential run here on that issue explicitly. Nikki Haley arguing in the direction of more moderation and how she would put it, sort of like pragmatism and practicality. Let's take a listen to how these New Hampshire Republican-based voters reacted to the clip of Mike Pence staking out his position in the debate.
Life as governor and as vice president. And to be honest with you, Nikki, you're my friend, but consensus is the opposite of leadership. When the Supreme Court returned this question to the American people, they didn't just send it to the states only. It's not a states only issue. It's a moral issue. And I promise you, as President of the United States, the American people will have a champion for life in the Oval Office. Can't we have a minimum standard in every state in the nation that says when a baby is capable of feeling pain, an abortion cannot be allowed? A 15-week ban is an idea whose time has come. It's supported by 70% of the American people, but it's going to take unapologetic leadership that stands on principle and expresses compassion for women in crisis pregnancies. I'll do that as President of the United States.
He called my name, so I want to respond to that. It is in the hands of the people, and that's where it should be. But when you're talking about a federal ban, be honest with the American people. We haven't had 45 pro-life senators in over 100 years. So no Republican president can ban abortions any more than a Democrat president could ban all those state laws. Don't make women feel like they have to decide on this issue when you know we don't have 60 Senate votes in the House.
I just think putting a ban on it right there to me seems like a control thing when I think about that. Every baby is a baby, I mean, from when they're conceived. And I don't think you can say 15 weeks is a limit on it. It's a baby.
I don't agree with a blanket ban. You're taking away a lot of choices for people, and not necessarily, in pro of, an unborn child or anything like that. It's still, somebody's going to find a way one way or the other. It's not going to stop happening. And you're putting a ban and you're forcing people into a corner, and it's not going to help anybody.
15 weeks feels arbitrary to me. I actually personally rather that it went back to where there was no government support for it.
Save the child, take the child into adoption. People who can't have children want to have children. Instead of aborting them, killing them, let's change the way we look at life.
I still think it should be at the state level. I just don't agree with the whole federal oversight of that. I am a pro-life candidate person, but I also think that Nikki Haley in the debate had a lot of points about consensus, like what are the things that people actually agree on? Like I understand like intellectually that it's a human life and we shouldn't be bargaining with that. But I also think that there are things that people do agree on. Like you don't think a federal ban is where it's at.
I'd prefer to see a federal ban on all murder, including the unborn child, as well as our elderly. Any type of murder in my mind should be federally banned.
Who would like to see that be lower, that 15-week ban? Put your hands up if you'd like that to be lower still. Okay.
So I thought very interesting conversation there. You can see that group is fairly divided.
Very split.
And some of the people who had objections to the 15-week ban, it was like, it doesn't go far enough. And I think, Saagar, it sort of underscores the bind. Listen, Donald Trump is kind of in his own category. He can kind of stake out his own positions and people just like accept it and deal with it. For every other candidate, the people who are voting on this issue in the Republican primary are the most hard line. So they're the ones like the one woman in the front row who's all the way on the right. She seems to be sort of the most ideological and possibly like staking her vote on this issue. And so, they might accept someone who goes further than they want on abortion, but there are people in the Republican base who will not vote for you if you don't have a pretty hard stance on the issue. And that's kind of the bind for some of these candidates.
Very difficult, very difficult. I did note, though, that a lot of the people who were on the side of the issue, some of them were very pro-Trump, and it was clear to me that the Trump people, it's not their top priority, but amongst the undecideds, it was a priority. And also, it was interesting to see the Vivek Ramaswamy supporter there who talked about how this was, she was like, I don't know, I don't like the idea of the ban, and it actually tracks because she is not only more independent-minded, but she's a bit more libertarian, and that's one of the reasons she was supporting Vivek. So I really loved the way that you could see that come through in normal rhetoric when they're like, well, I don't really like the idea of a national ban or like telling people what to do. Seems like going up to the states is a reasonable position, even though I have a pro-life position. And I was like, that's the big divide around how a lot of people feel about this. And this doesn't even take into account how non-GOP voters feel. But, amongst them, though, you can see even they don't agree. And so that shows you how minority of a position it is.
Yeah, that's a great point. Even within the Republican base, you don't have anywhere close to unanimous consent for even a 15-week ban, which is a more moderate position than, frankly, what we've heard Mike Pence articulate in the past. I mean, this is someone who would certainly be on board with a absolute, complete federal ban. I think he's floating the sort of more moderate position to make it more palatable to a broader audience. But yeah, the fact that you don't even have anywhere close to consensus within this group is noteworthy. The fact that the people who seem to be voting on the issue are the most hardline is noteworthy. And of course, there's a huge gulf between how this plays within a Republican primary and how this plays with independents, with Democrats in a general election. And that's kind of the bind that these candidates find themselves in. Hey guys, if you like that video, go to breakingpoints.com, become a premium subscriber, and help us build the best independent media organization on the planet.
That's right. We're subscriber funded. We're building something new. We want to replace these failing mainstream media organizations.
So again, to subscribe, it's breakingpoints.com.